Passion, according to Webster Dictionary, is the emotions as distinguished from reason. I personally would debate that definition, though for the sake of this video, that's what I'm going to go off of when I say the word passion. Okay? We're going to get back to that definition and what it means and why I read the definition at the beginning of this video. Before we do that, we're going to go to this article on thegamer.com. It's an article reading Dragon Age. The Veilguard players apologize to the writers. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically what this article is trying to say, or is saying, is that I guess there was some report from Bloomberg that said that EA, the company, was the cause of all the developmental issues. And that some of the fans are now blaming EA rather than the writers, specifically, according to the article. My take, real quick, on the Veilguard, I played through some of it. Some of my videos, my gameplay videos on this channel.
This is trash.
It wasn't fun. It was pretty hard to be invested in it, and I found that the majority of my playtime with it was complaining. I complained a lot, and it got to the point where I had to ask myself, who wants to watch this? I'm pretty much complaining through the whole game. I'm not having fun. It was funny sometimes, don't get me wrong, but it was really difficult to find highlights, positives. Now, in my detriment, I did turn the game on the highest difficulty, and it did tell me at the start that if I played it on that difficulty, I could not turn it down partway through the game. I regret every second of the difficulty. Everything was a friggin' sword sponge. I'd whack and whack and whack and whack and whack and whack and jump and jump. And honestly, I found that my teammates were immortal, so I would just dodge continuously and let them use skills every time they be tried. Anyways, it was a slog. It was not fun and very imbalanced. But gameplay aside, because this article is focusing on the writing, that's where I'm going to focus. And the writing was really bad. It was bad. The writing in Veilguard, if I had to describe it, was a CW sitcom or Warner Brothers sitcom like Riverdale. The writing very much so resembled something out of Riverdale. It was edgy, surreal, and was very much so not based in reality, despite the themes trying to be based in reality. Everything is quirky. Everything is poppy. And when I say poppy, I mean like bubbly, right? Everyone comes across as, someone enters the room and instantly it's beep, bop, boop. That sort of beat in the conversations. Everything is, even the tense moments, it's beep, bop, boop. Very upbeat. Anyways, specifically the party members you get. The only one I really liked was Lace. Lace Harding, the little halfling from, dwarf. The dwarf from Dragon Age, the Inquisition. Everyone else was really difficult to stand. And it's for the same reasons. They were just too quirky. I don't know if you ever played Skyrim with a lot of the companion mods. Your party members from Dragon Age, Veilguard, suffered a lot from now mind you, the independent modded companions of Skyrim. When I say independent, I mean usually it was this very one person to maybe 3 or 4 people who developed it. had a lot of the same issues. I can't stand Skyrim companion mods for this reason. Veilguard and Skyrim share the same issues in this sense, where they all had main character syndrome. None of them had a chill button, except Lace. I liked Lace. I didn't love Lace, but I liked Lace. Again, I am saying this because of this article, blaming the parent company EA, they own BioWare, for the writing. I'm gonna have to say that is not the case at all. It can't be. And the reason being is that there have been, let me cut to the chase. Pacific Rim, have you watched it? If you haven't, YouTube this. Pacific Rim in the Apocalypse speech. And in that scene, Idris Elba, he has an adopted daughter. She comes up to her, Idris Elba, and says, hey, basically, I don't want you to die. He's going on this dangerous mission. He delivers this, very passionate speech to his adopted daughter, his daughter, basically, saying, hey, look, it's got to be done. You're going to be out there too. Watch my back. And, watch it. It's very compelling. And then he goes up and stands on top of this mech and gives a speech, which is known as in the Apocalypse speech. And if you listen to the lines of the speech, word by word, it's not well written. The speech itself is actually pretty corny. Though Idris Elba delivers it in such a way where he conveys this passion. Well, shoot, would I watch it again just for this video? And I was saying, hey man, sign me up, put me in a mech. Let's do it. Again, listen to the individual words. It's not good. It is not a good speech. Though Idris Elba delivers it and makes it a great speech. And again, it's because of the passion he puts into every line. Circling back to Veilguard, I cannot give the writers a pass. I know they don't. Look, I'm a writer. I'm a part of creative projects. And what you write is you're not always in control of it, how it's delivered, et cetera, et cetera. Though Veilguard fails on the writing department. I don't care if EA was telling them to write for the right. It does not matter. There are ways to do such things. There are ways to make conversations compelling. There are ways to insert, innuendos and subtleties into your conversation to make it interesting, so you can pick up on things as a human. And this is where the definition of passion is going to come into play. And again, I know Webster describes it as emotion distinguished from reason. Okay, that be the case. Life on this planet operates under a set of parameters, under a set of programming, right? Now, humans have a lot more freedom to their programming, but we are not free from it. Meaning that no matter what you do, you cannot break away from emotion. I know if you can absolutely break from emotion, there's something wrong with you and you can't operate functionally in, life, right? This is how we're made, like it or not. The hardest thing for an artist to do, at least a modern artist, believe it or not, is to capture passion and interject it into their project. Now, Dragon Age fails on every level. There is no passion whatsoever. And we've lost that in art nowadays. You can argue whether video games is art or not, though just a quick counterpoint, if you do, the Greek mythology at one point was probably considered slop, right? But it was a part of their culture and it was art. It's art now, thousands of years later. So video games, I consider to be a form of art. The writers they have working on this project nowadays don't have the lived experiences to create anything that normal people can connect with. If passion is done right, you connect with something and you don't know why. You have to really think about why you're connecting with it. Music, for example, a lot of modern music has no passion whatsoever. And before you think I'm ranting, first let me give you 2 examples. Do a challenge for yourself. Look up the top 40s right now. For right now, when I look it up, the top 40 music charts, there's Man-Child by Sabrina Carpenter and Ordinary by Alex Warren. Skip through those, listen to those a little bit. I just did. And both of them sound good. The music videos look visually appealing and are entertaining. I will not call these bad songs, not by a long shot. However, I do notice the little shortcuts and cheats they take to try and, fake passion, right? There's things they do, and without breaking it down all the way, because that's not what this video is about. This is about gaming, not music. Though I'm just trying to give this example to establish what I'm trying to convey here. Now, look up a song by Sochan Kiko called Mega, and then try one by HYBS called Killer. Now, both of these are smaller artists, I would say more indie. HYBS being, a more popular artist than Sochan Kikon. Listen to them. Again, you can skip through it just to get what I'm trying to say. And notice the difference. There is a distinct difference between the two of these. A stark difference, even. The latter two, the ones not on the top 40, have a certain passion about them that is difficult to fake. Now, whether you like the songs or not is another matter. That's outside the question. Try and just connect with the artist. So I've given, 2 examples? 2 sets of examples, Pacific Rim with Idris Elba, the Cancel the Apocalypse speech, and, the 2 sets of songs. And what I'm talking about when I talk about passion. Now, Dragon Age of Veilguard had none of that. So I cannot and will not give the writers a pass on what they did in that game. That game was a train wreck. And blaming the higher-ups, they could be to blame. But the fault was entirely the writers. They did nothing for that game. The writing was terrible, and it's about time we start holding accountable is a bad word, because what are we gonna do? But what I'm trying to say is that an artist needs to be willing to improve, get better, willing to say, hey, I messed up. This just wasn't great, or even good for that matter. Next time, I need to look at that failure and get better and stop passing the buck. When did it become okay in art to pass the freaking buck, man? Why do we do this all the time? Oh, well, such and such actor was great, but it was probably the writer's fault, or the producer's fault, or the company who owned the producers. No. Bottom line. Stuff happens in projects. It's the artist's responsibility to do the best they can with what they're given. If Idris Elba phoned it in because he was given a bad script, Pacific Rim wouldn't even be a blot on the radar. But because he did, they made a sequel he wasn't a part of, probably wisely so. Side note, I didn't hate Pacific Rim 2, but it definitely needed Idris Elba. Anyways, the whole conclusion is that I'm sick of trying to give artists a pass. No, nail them to the wall, hold them accountable, say it sucked, say do better next time. The writers in Dragon Age Ultra, the artist in Dragon Age the Veilguard fumbled the delivery. If you're an artist if you're an artist, I hope what you really take out of this video is to find a way to inject passion into your products. And if you don't have passion, that's okay. Passion comes from life experiences, living life, and then processing them in a healthy way. I know this was kind of a weird one, but it's something I wanted to make after I read the article because it's bogus. But anyways, until the next video, later days, and take care of yourself, guys.